Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zay here, and today I'm bringing you the round 9 feature match from Pokemon VGC 15 Philadelphia Regionals between David Mancuso and Alex Valente. Both of these players were 7-1 going into this final round, so the winner would be guaranteed a spot in the top 16, while the loser would still most likely make it, but you really want to win when you're at this point just to guarantee your spot in the bracket. So both of these players are pretty accomplished. David is actually the #1 rated player overall in the world right now in terms of championship points. He's had a phenomenal start to the season, and he's on track to earn his first Worlds invitation. Alex, on the other hand, has not played at Worlds, but came really close to in 2013, where he placed top 8 at US Nationals. So both of these players have had some really impressive accomplishments under their belt, and here they were at Philadelphia fighting for a spot in the top 16. So you see Alex's team in team preview with Gardevoir, Rotom Heat, Ludicolo, Mawile, Garchomp, and Aerodactyl. Kind of just a combination of standard but really anti-meta Pokemon. Just that team, you know, you look at it and you see that it basically has a way to check almost all the most popular Pokemon in VGC 2014. David, on the other hand, brought Colin Hires' 3rd place World Championship team to this tournament. He ran Zapdos, Hydreigon, Mawile, Conkeldurr, Tyranitar, and Aegislash. So, a pretty interesting kind of dynamic here. I think Alex having the Rotom Heat definitely helps him out a lot against countering David's Mawile, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And I think items will really play a big factor in this game, because we don't know what has Choice Scarf, whether any Pokemon has Choice Scarf, Choice Specs as well, and the Choice items can really help out a lot on both matchups. A Choice Scarf can completely sway the matchup, I think, for both players, and the Gardevoir is what I'm especially interested in seeing on Alex's end, so we'll see how that plays out. But the trainers sending out their Pokemon, Alex leading with Garchomp and Mawile, while David going with Hydreigon, Tyranitar, and this is a pretty interesting matchup. Garchomp, normally the fastest Pokemon on the field, can threaten both Hydreigon and Tyranitar, but namely the Hydreigon with a Dragon Claw. However, you can assume that the Garchomp is just safe here. Hydreigon and Tyranitar are often Pokemon that carry the Choice Scarf items. So, you know, if you're in Mancuso's position, you know there's some leeway in terms of attacking. You know the Hydreigon can even survive a Dragon Claw. So, you know, it all kind of depends on what items these Pokemon have, whether either Hydreigon or Tyranitar have the Choice Scarf, but on Alex's end, you probably want to play a bit safer, maybe pull out a switch, protect with both Pokemon to scout. For example, if Tyranitar ends up moving before Hydreigon, you'll know that the Tyranitar is choiced. So, you know, I think for Alex here, you really don't want to play it risky. Just go for a double protect or switch out the Garchomp so it just doesn't fate on the first turn. Garchomp's a pretty essential Pokemon in this matchup, so you kind of want to conserve it, and Alex sees that right away. He switches out Garchomp into the Gardevoir, which is an excellent play. Gardevoir counters Hydreigon perfectly and gives Tyranitar quite a amount of trouble. So traces that Sandstream, which isn't going to affect the game, and we're going to see Mega Mawile come out here. But I'm curious as to whether the Mawile actually attacks or not. You know, normally you don't see Mawile Mega to conserve that Intimidate. So in this case, Alex decided to Mega Evolve it, but just went for the Protect there. And we do see the Tyranitar go before Hydreigon, indicating that Tyranitar is indeed Choice Scarfed, as you see the Ice Beam. And Hydreigon goes for that Fire Blast into Mawile. So, really safe play there by Alex on the first turn. I think David made a good play too. For example, had Alex just stayed in with Garchomp, he would have lost it right away. So, both players making pretty good plays there, but I think Alex is pretty happy right now because he did not lose that Garchomp, and he brought in Gardevoir safely. Now the question is whether that Gardevoir actually carries a Choice Scarf or not. If it doesn't, then here David's just free to Fire Blast that Mawile slot and either switch out Tyranitar or even just go for another Ice Beam. But I think Alex is definitely in a much better position than he was in the previous turn, where he had a Garchomp stuck in against a Hydreigon and Tyranitar, which he didn't know the items of. So knowing that the Tyranitar is locked into Ice Beam is pretty huge. You can probably assume that it's going to switch out here. And you can probably also assume that the Fire Blast is coming onto Mawile. So for Alex here, he could either switch out the Mawile into Garchomp, or if Gardevoir's Choice Scarf, just attack. So we are going to see Tyranitar switch out, which, like I said earlier, makes a lot of sense because you don't want a Tyranitar locked into Ice Beam in right now, and Aegislash is definitely a good replacement. And Gardevoir does go before the Hydreigon, indicating that it indeed does also carry a Choice Scarf, getting the super effective Moonblast off against Hydreigon, and picking up the one-hit KO there. So, an excellent play for Alex there. I'm sure he was really happy picking up the knockout on Hydreigon, since, of course, Hydreigon had the super effective Fire Blast on his Mawile. Other than the Hydreigon, since David actually did not have any Fire-type Pokemon, the Mawile now is going to give it a lot of trouble. So I'm sure Alex is really pleased right now. Tyranitar comes back in, but Gardevoir still the fastest Pokemon on the field, and it's guaranteed a free Moonblast on that Tyranitar slot this turn, basically. And now the question is whether Mawile stays in, attacks, or stays in protects, or switches out. There are a bunch of plays he could do here, but I think Alex is at a really big advantage right now, especially since he's going to be able to get even more free damage off on that Tyranitar slot with the Moonblast. Of course, Tyranitar can either stay in and take the attack or switch out, but choice users very commonly do not have protect here, and we do see Tyranitar stay in. So Choice Scarf Gardevoir is going to get another Moonblast off, and it does a lot of damage, bringing that Tyranitar down to 35 HP, as he goes for a Fire Blast here, but because it's Choice Scarf, they probably won't KO. You see they're not getting the extra damage it needs. Mawile here also going for the Iron Head into Tyranitar, so Alex deciding to double up into that Tyranitar slot. A brilliant play because he knew he could probably take that Fire Blast, and he knew he'd probably pick up a KO this turn. So now he's up 4-2. Aegislash stance changes and goes for the Shadow Ball into the Gardevoir slot instead of the Mawile slot, but it does pick up the KO, so that was a big KO there for David. Of course, he's still down 2-3, so this is a pretty tricky position for him, but Aegislash is a good Pokemon to have against all of Alex's teams. So for David, the game's still not over, but we see Rotom Heat and Conkeldurr come out, and at this point, you'd have to think that Alex is in such an advantage here. He can actually just overheat the Aegislash and play rough for the win at this point. Even if Aegislash King shields, the play rough will most likely KO Conkeldurr, and the following turn you can just overheat Sucker Punch for the KO. So I think Alex played this game really well, assuming the Choice Scarf on Tyranitar on the first turn, making that safe switch into Garchomp. Here we see a last attempt Mach Punch onto that Mawile actually does not get the critical hit, so that does not KO it, as the Will-O-Wisp goes into the Aegislash, most likely predicting a King Shield. Play rough is going to take out that Conkeldurr. And at this point, because David's team is so slow, there's really not much you can do against Alex's team. Alex is just simply able to overwhelm him with offense, and that was a nice play there, not going for the King Shield, but at this point it's kind of a lost cause. Though I guess had he crit the Mach Punch there onto Mawile, since Rotom just went for the Will-O-Wisp, maybe David would have been in a better position. You know, he found the one way he could claw himself out with the win, but he really needed the critical hit there on Mawile. Unfortunately, he did not get it, and I think we're going to see Alex take a pretty clean 3-0 win here. It was really well played on his end. I think he conserved his, did probability management really well, just not losing Garchomp right away, figuring out Tyranitar was Choice Scarf from the start, and I think that gave him a huge advantage, and we saw him really capitalize off that. So an excellent game played by Alex. I think Mancuso also played well, but for team matchup, Alex just realized, he had an advantage if he brought Gardevoir, especially with that Choice Scarf, and it played out perfectly as it picked up a lot of damage. So in the end, Alex went 8-1, but David also went 7-2 and made it into the top 16. So I'll bring you more matches from Philadelphia soon. If you guys enjoyed that match, definitely leave a like. If you want to see more live commentated battles, definitely let me know. Until then, I'll see you next time. Peace.